Air China 975 Heavy, you're in an active airspace, please contact Singapore Center on 127.0.
Singapore Center, Air China 97.
Air China 975 Heavy, radar contact. Air China 975 Heavy, descend via LR1B arrival.
Descending via LR1 Bravo arrival, Air China 975 Heavy.
Air India 025 India November Heavy, maintain Mach .79.
Maintain Mach .79, Air India 025 India November Heavy.
Air India 025 India November Heavy, turn left heading 090, maintain flight level 410.
Turn left heading 090, maintain flight level 410, Air India 025 India November Heavy.
Scooter 475, contact Singapore approach on 124.6.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Scooter 475.
Bravo 2234, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Philippines 501 Heavy, reduce speed to 270 knots.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Bravo 2234.
China Eastern 619 Heavy, reduce speed to 280 knots.
Reduce speed to 270 knots, Philippines 501 Heavy.
Philippines 501 Heavy, thank you, good day. Philippines 501 Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 124.6.
Reduce speed to 280 knots, China Eastern 619 Heavy.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Philippines 501 Heavy.
Air India 106 India November, maintain present speed.
Maintain present speed, Air India 106 India November.
Singapore 833 Heavy, reduce speed to 290 knots.
Reduce speed to 290 knots, Singapore 833 Heavy.
Singapore Center, Singapore 921 Heavy, with you at 40,000.
Air India 106 India November, thank you, good day. Air India 106 India November, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Singapore 921 Heavy, radar contact.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Air India 106 India November. Thank you, good day, Air India 106 India November.
Singapore 921 Heavy, amend flight plan to include ATC preferred star of destination. Air India 025 India November Heavy, turn right heading 170.
Singapore Center, Papa Kilo Juliet Kilo Oscar Super, with you at 3,500.
Lufthansa 780 Heavy, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0. Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0.
Contacting Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0, Lufthansa 780 Heavy.
Turn right heading 170, Air India 025 India November Heavy.
Singapore 833 Heavy, reduce speed to 280 knots.
Reduce speed to 280 knots, Singapore 833 Heavy. Contacting Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0, Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy.
Singapore Center, Thai 878 Tango Golf, with you at 9,400.
Thai 878 Tango Golf, radar contact. Thai 279 Tango Golf, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0. Golf Lima Uniform November Alpha, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0.
Singapore Center, Singapore 442, with you at 1,200.
Singapore 833 Heavy, thank you, good day. Singapore 833 Heavy, contact Singapore arrival on 119.3.
Contacting Singapore arrival on 119.3, Singapore 833 Heavy.
Singapore 442, radar contact. Thai 878 Tango Golf, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0. China Eastern 619 Heavy, thank you, good day.
Contacting Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0, Thai 878 Tango Golf.
China Eastern 619 Heavy, contact Singapore arrival on 119.3.
Contacting Singapore arrival on 119.3, China Eastern 619 Heavy. Thank you, good day, China Eastern 619 Heavy.
Singapore 919 Heavy, turn left heading 180, descend and maintain flight level 270.
Speedbird 896 Super is 18 nautical miles southwest of Singapore Pile at 10,400 feet, requesting radar vectors to London Heathrow. Turn left heading 180, descend and maintain flight level 270, Singapore 919 Heavy.
Air India 025 India November Heavy, turn right heading 200. Speedbird 896 Super, unable at this time, proceed on course to London Heathrow.
Roger, Speedbird 896 Super. Speedbird 896 Super, requesting climb to flight level 300.
Turn right heading 200, Air India 025 India November Heavy.
Philippines 627, you're in an active airspace, please contact Singapore Center on 127.0.
Gulf Air 166 is 2 nautical miles southwest of Changi Air at 2,000 feet, requesting flight following to Bahrain International.
Speedbird 896 Super, climb and maintain flight level 300. Gulf Air 166, proceed on course to Bahrain International.
Proceed on course, Gulf Air 166.
Climb and maintain flight level 300, Speedbird 896 Super. Singapore Center, Philippines 627, with you at 32,000.
Papa Kilo Juliet Kilo Oscar Super, requesting climb to flight level 350.
Philippines 627, radar contact. Philippines 627, turn left heading 180, descend and maintain flight level 270.
Singapore Center, Tunisia 327 Heavy, with you at 26,400, descending via Sun 1 Bravo arrival.
Singapore 919 Heavy, turn right heading 280.
Turn left heading 180, descend and maintain flight level 270, Philippines 627. Turn right heading 280, Singapore 919 Heavy.
Air India 025 India November Heavy, continue as filed. Tunisia 327 Heavy, radar contact.
Continue as filed, Air India 025 India November Heavy.
Singapore 38 Heavy, reduce speed to 280 knots. Singapore 921 Heavy, maintain mark .78.
Maintain map .78, Singapore 921 Heavy.
Singapore 777 Uniform X-Ray, maintain mark .78.
China Southern 812 Super is 3 nautical miles southwest of Changi Air at 2,100 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 25 left at Hong Kong.
Maintain Mach .78, Singapore 777 Uniform X-Ray.
Contacting Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0, Gulf Lima Uniform November Alpha.
China Southern 812 Super, requested airport is outside of coverage area, proceed on course. Singapore 442, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0.
Roger, China Southern 812 Super.
Contacting Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0, Singapore 442.
China Southern 812 Super is 6 nautical miles southwest of Changi Air at 4,200 feet, requesting flight following to Hong Kong.
Singapore 919 Heavy, turn right heading 350.
Turn right heading 350, Singapore 919 Heavy.
Singapore 38 Heavy, please follow instructions or you will be reported. China Southern 812 Super, please check the user guide from the home screen for help using ATC instructions.
Fatigue 889 Lima Golf, requesting descent via Repo 1 Bravo arrival.
Fatigue 889 Lima Golf, proceed as requested. Fatigue 889 Lima Golf, correction, stand by. I'm sorry, Singapore 38 Heavy. Fatigue 889 Lima Golf, amend flight plan to include ATC preferred star of destination.
Speedbird 896 Super, request frequency change.
Singapore 38 Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Philippines 627, turn right heading 320.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Singapore 38 Heavy.
Turn right heading 320, Philippines 627. Singapore Center, China Southern 812 Super, with you at 9,000. Fatigue 889 Lima Golf, correction, stand by.
Speedbird 896 Super, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0. Fatigue 889 Lima Golf, descend via arrival.
Contacting Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0, Speedbird 896 Super. Descending via Repo 1 Bravo arrival, Fatigue 889 Lima Golf.
Singapore 919 Heavy, descend and maintain 16,000.
Descend and maintain 16,000, Singapore 919 Heavy.
Philippines 627, descend and maintain 16,000. Singapore 37 Heavy, reduce speed to 280 knots.
Descend and maintain 16,000, Philippines 627. Reduce speed to 280 knots, Singapore 37 Heavy.
Redcap 357, radar contact.
Singapore Center, Singapore 522 November Romeo, with you at 30,000.
Singapore 522 November Romeo, radar contact.
Singapore 522 November Romeo, requesting descent via Alal 1 Bravo arrival.
Singapore 919 Heavy, turn left heading 230. Singapore 777 Uniform X-Ray, turn right heading 310, descend and maintain 16,000.
Singapore Center, KLM 027 Alpha Kilo Heavy, with you at 40,000.
Philippines 627, turn right heading 270.
Turn right heading 310, descend and maintain 16,000. Singapore 777 Uniform X-Ray.
Turn left heading 230, Singapore 919 Heavy. KLM 027 Alpha Kilo Heavy, requesting descent via Sub 1 Alpha arrival. Turn right heading 270, Philippines 627.
KLM 027 Alpha Kilo Heavy, amend flight plan to include ATC preferred star of destination. Singapore 522 November Romeo, descend via arrival.
Descending via Alal 1 Bravo arrival, Singapore 522 November Romeo. KLM 027 Alpha Kilo Heavy, requesting descent via Sub 1 Bravo arrival.
Papa Kilo Juliet Kilo Oscar Super. Request frequency change.
KLM 027 Alpha Kilo Heavy, proceed as requested.
Descending via Sub 1 Bravo arrival, KLM 027 Alpha Kilo Heavy.
Singapore 37 Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Singapore 919 Heavy, turn left heading 200.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Singapore 37 Heavy. Turn left heading 200, Singapore 919 Heavy. Singapore 6132, requesting descent via Card 1 Alpha arrival.
Singapore 1995 Heavy, maintain present speed.
Maintain present speed, Singapore 1995 Heavy.
Singapore 6132, amend flight plan to include ATC preferred star of destination.
Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel is 17 nautical miles southwest of Pulau Tioman at 27,400 feet, requesting visual approach any runway at Singapore Changi.
Singapore 921 Heavy, turn right heading 310, descend and maintain 16,000. Philippines 627, turn right heading 280. Singapore 1995 Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 124.6.
Turn right heading 280, Philippines 627.
Turn right heading 310, descend and maintain 16,000. Singapore 921 Heavy.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Singapore 1995 Heavy.
Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, do not exceed Mach .78.
Do not exceed Mach .78, Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel. Singapore Center, Singapore 024 Sierra Quebec, with you at 35,000. Mentary 067 Super is 17 nautical miles southwest of Pulau Tioman at 28,100 feet, requesting visual approach any runway at Singapore Changi.
Singapore 024 Sierra Quebec, radar contact. Mentary 067 Super, unable to provide services to this airport at the moment. Proceed on course. Singapore 024 Sierra Quebec, descend via arrival.
Singapore Center, Singapore 2 Echo Zulu, with you at 14,000.
Singapore 2 Echo Zulu, radar contact.
Descending via LO1 Bravo arrival, Singapore 024 Sierra Quebec.
Singapore 919 Heavy, continue as filed. Singapore 921 Heavy, disregard flight plan, please follow ATC instructions.
Continue as filed, Singapore 919 Heavy. Roger, Mentary 067 Super.
Philippines 627, contact Singapore approach on 124.6.
Scuba 611 is 25 nautical miles southwest of Pulau Tioman at 25,500 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Philippines 627.
KLM 027 Alpha Kilo Heavy, turn right heading 270 and hold over Iconur flight, Air China 975 Heavy, maintain Mach .76.
Maintain Mach .76, Air China 975 Heavy.
Air India 025 India November Heavy, maintain Mach .78.
Singapore Center, Red Cap 458, with you at 33,000.
Singapore 522 November Romeo, maintain Mach .78. Red Cap 458, radar contact. Red Cap 458, maintain present speed.
Maintain present speed, Red Cap 458.
Singapore 024 Sierra Quebec, maintain Mach .76.
Maintain Mach .78, Singapore 522 November Romeo.
Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, reduce speed to 280 knots.
Singapore Center, Singapore 708 Heavy, with you at 3,800.
Mentary 067 Super, reduce speed to 280 knots.
Maintain Mach .76, Singapore 024 Sierra Quebec. Reduce speed to 280 knots, Mentary 067 Super.
Maintain Mach .78, Air India 025 India November Heavy.
Reduce speed to 280 knots, Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel.
Scooter 611, turn right heading 180, descend and maintain flight level 210. Singapore 708 Heavy, radar contact.
Turn right heading 180, descend and maintain flight level 210, Scooter 611.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Singapore 919 Heavy.
Tunisia 327 Heavy, do not exceed 230 knots.
Do not exceed 230 knots. Tunisia 327 Heavy.
Fatigue 889 Lima Golf, reduce speed to 250 knots.
Reduce speed to 250 knots, Fatigue 889 Lima Golf.
Fatigue 889 Lima Golf, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Tunisia 327 Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 124.6.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Fatigue 889 Lima Golf.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Tunisia 327 Heavy. Thank you, good day, Tunisia 327 Heavy.
Air China 975 Heavy is 12 nautical miles southeast of Pulau Tioman at 24,600 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 center at Singapore Changi.
Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, hold present position at 13,000, left turns, do not exceed 230 knots.
Singapore Center, Mike Bravo Alpha Lima Delta, with you at 36,000.
Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, turn left heading 180. Air China 975 Heavy, unable to provide services to this airport at the moment. Proceed on course.
Roger, Air China 975 Heavy.
Mike Bravo Alpha Lima Delta, requesting descent via Repo 1 Alpha arrival.
Singapore 777 Uniform X-Way, turn right heading 240 and hold over Texas at 12,000, left turns, do not exceed 230 knots. Singapore 921 Heavy, turn left heading 190. Singapore 6132, turn left heading 260 and hold over Texas at 14,000, left turns, do not exceed 230 knots.
Turn left heading 190, Singapore 921 Heavy.
Turn right heading 240 and hold over Texas at 12,000, left turns, Wilco, Singapore 777 Uniform X-Ray.
Mike Bravo Alpha Lima Delta, proceed as requested.
Descending via Repo 1 Alpha arrival, Mike Bravo Alpha Lima Delta.
Singapore Center, Qantas 71 Heavy, with you at 28,200.
9 Victor Alpha Whiskey Whiskey, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi. Super Green 526 is 25 nautical miles west of Dago at 38,000 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi.
Qantas 71 Heavy, radar contact. Super Green 526, unable to provide services to this airport at the moment. Proceed on course.
Qantas 71 Heavy is 33 nautical miles northwest of Davao at 26,600 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi.
Roger, Super Green 526.
Qantas 71 Heavy, unable to provide services to this airport at the moment. Proceed on course. Turn left. Singapore 266 Heavy, you're in an active airspace. Please contact Singapore Center on 127.0.
Singapore 9590 Heavy, requesting descent.
Mike Bravo.
Singapore 919 Heavy, turn left heading 230, descend and maintain 8000. Roger, repeat 889 Lima Golf. Turn left heading 230, descend and maintain 8. Singapore approach, Air China 975 Heavy, with you at 19,700, descending via Hello 1 Bravo arrival. Singapore approach, Singapore 421, with you at 13,400. Turn left heading 020, descend and maintain 5,000, Batik 889 Lima Golf. Alpha 8, speed at your discretion. Turn right heading 350, Singapore Air China 975 Heavy, radar contact, say approach request.
Turn left heading 190, Qatari 208 Victor Alpha Heavy.
Singapore 421. Air China 975 Heavy is 27 nautical miles northeast of Seletar at 18,800 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 2 center at Singapore Changi. Qatari 208 Victor Alpha Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 120.3. Singapore 37, contact Singapore. Air China 975 Heavy, expect vectors for the... Roger, Air China 975 Heavy. Batik 889 Lima Golf, turn right heading 030. Air China 975 Heavy, turn left heading 150, descend and maintain 5,000. Singapore 421, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 2 center at Singapore Changi. Roger, Singapore 421. Singapore 206 India November Super, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 2 left at Singapore Changi. Turn right heading 030, Batik 889 Lima Golf. Turn left heading 100, descend and maintain 5,000, Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy. Holding present position at 7,000, left turns, Singapore 492.
Roger, Singapore 206 India November Super.
Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy, please follow instructions or you will be reported. Singapore 206 India November Super, turn left heading 140, descend and maintain 4,000. Singapore 421, turn left heading 160, descend and maintain 4,000.
Turn left heading 140, descend and maintain 4000, Singapore 206 India November Super.
Turn left heading 160, descend and maintain 4,000, Singapore 421. Singapore 1995 Heavy, turn right heading 350, maintain 6,000. Singapore approach, Air China 186 Heavy, with you at 5,900. Turn right heading 350, maintain 6,000, Singapore 1995 Heavy. Singapore 37 Heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 2 center at Singapore Changi. Roger, Singapore 37 Heavy. Air China 186 Heavy, radar contact. Jet speed 67, turn right heading 180, descend and maintain 7,000. Air China 975, do not exceed 230 knots, Air China 975 Heavy. Singapore 1995 Heavy, turn left heading 300, maintain 6,000. Singapore 492, radar contact. Turn left heading 300, maintain 6,000, Singapore 1995 Heavy. Air China 186 Heavy, turn left heading 200, maintain 6,000. Air China 975 Heavy, turn right heading 20, turn right heading 200, Air China 975 Heavy. Jet speed 67, turn right heading 220. Singapore 919 Heavy, turn right heading 260. Fatigue, Air China 975 Heavy, contacting Singapore approach on 120.3, Air China 975 Heavy. Turn right heading 050, Fatigue 889 Lima Golf. Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final, Scooter 475. Q-Link 47, request frequency change. Bravo 2234, turn right heading 310. Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee, turn right heading 300. Turn right heading 310, Bravo 2234. Lufthansa 777, you're in an active airspace, please contact Singapore approach on 120.3. Turn right heading 300, Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee. Q-Link 47, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Q-Link 47. Thank you, good day, Q-Link 47. Scooter 475, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Scooter 475. Air India 106 India November, descend and maintain 3,000.
Descend and maintain 3000, Air India 106 India November.
Alpha 8, turn left heading 280, descend and maintain 3,000. Turn left heading 280, descend and maintain 3,000, Alpha 8. Alpha 8, correction, stand by. Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel is 20 nautical miles northeast of Singapore Changi at 7,100 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi.
Turn right heading 220, Lufthansa 780 Heavy.
Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee, descend and maintain 3000. Descend and maintain 3000, Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee. Victor Tango Bravo Romeo Sierra Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Air India 106 India November, turn right heading 350, descend and maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left approach.
Turn right heading 350, descend and maintain 3000.
Air China 9, turn left heading 170, descend and maintain 5000, Air China 975 Heavy. Bravo 2234 is 11 nautical miles west of Batam Hang at 2,500 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 2 center at Singapore Changi. Alpha 6 Alpha Delta Foxtrot, contact Singapore Center on 127.0. Contacting Singapore Center on 127.0, Alpha 6 Alpha Delta Foxtrot. Singapore approach, Singapore 421, with you at 4000. Bravo 2234, turn right heading 350, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left approach. Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee, turn right heading 350, maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 center approach. Turn right heading 350, maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 center, Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee. Turn right heading 350, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left, Bravo 2234. Air India 106 India November, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Lufthansa 780 Heavy, turn right heading 280.
Turn right heading 280, Lufthansa 780 Heavy.
Singapore 421 is 15 nautical miles northeast of Changi Air at 4,000 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 2 center at Singapore Changi. Singapore 37, turn right heading 230. Turn right heading 230, Singapore 37. Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee, turn right heading 050, maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 center approach. Turn right heading 0, Air China 975. Turn right heading 260, Air China 975 Heavy.
Do not exceed 180 knots, Qatari 208 Victor Alpha Heavy.
Singapore 421, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 2 center at Singapore Changi. Singapore approach, Singapore 37 Heavy, with you at 5000. Singapore 421, turn left heading 200, maintain 4000. Turn left heading 200, maintain 4000, Singapore 421. Qatari 208 Victor Alpha Heavy, turn right heading 050, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 center approach. Bravo 2234, maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final.
Turn right heading 050, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 center, Qatari 208 Victor Alpha Heavy.
Air China 975 Heavy, Roger, Air China 975 Heavy. Singapore 37 Heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 2 left at Singapore Changi. Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy is 1 nautical miles north of Singapore Pai at 4,000 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi. Singapore Air China 975 Heavy is 2 nautical miles west of Batam Hang at 6,700 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 2 center at Singapore Changi.
Lufthansa 780 Heavy, requesting descent to 2000.
Lufthansa 780 Heavy, turn right heading 300, descend and maintain 3000. Air China 975 Heavy, turn right heading 270, descend and maintain 4000. Air China 975 Heavy. Singapore 37, descend and maintain 2000. Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 2 left at Singapore Changi. Descend and maintain 2000, Singapore 37. Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy, turn left heading 200, maintain 4000. Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, you're in an active airspace, please contact Singapore approach on 120.3. Turn left heading 200, maintain 4000, Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy. Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel is 6 nautical miles north of Singapore Changi at 3,900 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 2 left at Singapore Changi. Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, turn left heading 210, descend and maintain 3000. Singapore 206 India November Super, turn left heading 200, turn left heading 210, descend and maintain 3000, Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel.
Turn left heading 200, Singapore 206 India November Super.
Singapore 37 Heavy, turn right heading 270. Singapore 37, turn right heading 290. Lufthansa 780 Heavy, turn right heading 350, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left approach. Route 8, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Turn right heading 270, Singapore 37 Heavy.
Turn right heading 350, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left, Lufthansa 780 Heavy.
Singapore 1995 Heavy, turn left heading 230, maintain 6000. Descend and maintain 3000, Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy. Turn left heading 230, maintain 6000, Singapore 1995 Heavy. Singapore 206 India November Super, increase speed to 220 knots.
Increase speed to 220 knots, Singapore 206 India November Super.
Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy, turn left heading Air China 975 Heavy, do not exceed 200 knots, Air China 975 Heavy. Lufthansa 780 Heavy, maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final.
Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final, Lufthansa 780 Heavy.
Turn right heading 280, descend and maintain 4000, Singapore 37 Heavy. Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec Heavy, turn left heading 050, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left approach. Turn left heading 050, Air China 975 Heavy. Turn right heading 050, descend and maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left, Air China 975 Heavy. Turn right heading 350, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 center, Singapore 37. Executing this approach, Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee.
Singapore approach, Delta Romeo Alpha Zulu Echo, with you at 4300.
Singapore 421, turn right heading 240, descend and maintain 2000. Turn right heading 240, descend and maintain 2000, Singapore 421. Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee, execute missed approach, turn right heading 150, climb and maintain 4000. Executing missed approach, turn right heading 150, climb and maintain 4000, Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee. Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, turn left heading 160, turn left heading 160, Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel.
Qatari 208 Victor Alpha Heavy is 1 nautical miles northeast of Singapore Changi at 3,100 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 2 center at Singapore Changi.
Singapore 37, maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final. Singapore 37, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118. Air China 975. Turn right heading 050, descend and maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left, Air China 975 Heavy. Singapore 421, turn right heading 280. All Nippon 844, execute missed approach, turn right heading 140, climb and maintain 5000. Turn right heading 280, Singapore 421. Philippines 627, turn left heading 240, descend and maintain 4000. Turn left heading 240, descend and maintain 4000, Philippines 627. Singapore 37 Heavy, turn right heading 350, maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left approach. Turn right heading 350, maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 left, Singapore 37 Heavy. Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, turn right heading 190, maintain 3000. Turn right heading 190, maintain 3000, Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel. Singapore 1995 Heavy, descend and maintain 5000. Descend and maintain 5000, Singapore 1995 Heavy. Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 2 left at Singapore Changi. Delta Romeo Alpha Zulu Echo, turn left heading 070, maintain 4000. Roger, Papa Hotel Juliet Oscar Hotel. Air China. Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Air China 975 Heavy. Singapore 421, turn right heading 360, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 2 center approach. Singapore 676, wind 350 at 8, runway 2 center, cleared for immediate takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 2 center, Singapore 676.
Lufthansa 780 heavy, when able turn right and contact ground, please expedite, traffic on final.
Wilco, Lufthansa 780 heavy.
Singapore 1360 Sierra Quebec heavy, wind 350 at 8, number 1, runway 2 left, cleared to land.
Singapore 676. Correction. Stand by.
Alpha 6 Alpha Delta Foxtrot, wind 350 at 8, runway 2 left, cleared for immediate takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 2 left, Alpha 6 Alpha Delta Foxtrot. Number 1, cleared to land, runway 2 left, Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec heavy. Singapore 676, cancel takeoff clearance, hold position. Singapore 676, hold short of runway 2 center.
Holding short runway 2 center, Singapore 676.
Singapore 676, line up and wait runway 2 center.
Line up and wait runway 2 center, Singapore 676.
Singapore 710 heavy, hold short of runway 2 left. Finnair 132 heavy, contact Kuala Lumpur center on 127.0.
Holding short runway 2 left, Singapore 710 heavy.
Contact Air China 975. Number 2, cleared to land, runway 2 left, Air China 975 heavy.
Stand by, Express India 545 Super.
Singapore Changi Tower, Singapore 421, inbound on the ILS runway 2 center. Singapore 421, wind 350 at 8, number 1, runway 2 center, cleared to land. Singapore 676, wind 350 at 8, runway 2 center, cleared for takeoff. Number 1, cleared to land, runway 2 center, Singapore 421. Singapore Changi Tower, China Southern 6052, ready for departure at runway 2 left, departing north.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 2 center, Singapore
500.
676.
Singapore Changi Tower, Express
400.
India 545 Super. Ready for departure in sequence at runway 2 left, remaining in the pattern.
China Southern 6052, hold short of runway 2 left. Express India 545 Super, hold short of runway 2 left. Holding short runway 2 left, China Southern 6052. Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec heavy, when able turn right and contact ground,
200.
please expedite, traffic on final.
Holding short runway 2
100.
left, Express India 545 Super.
50, 40,
SpiceJet 68, line up and wait runway 2 left.
30,
SpiceJet 68,
20,
line up and wait runway 2
retard,
center.
retard,
Line up and wait runway 2
Retard.
center.
Retard.
SpiceJet 68.
Wilco, Singapore 136 Sierra Quebec heavy. China Southern 6052, line up and wait runway 2 left.
Stand by, Singapore 710 heavy.
Singapore 710 heavy, line up and wait runway 2 left. Line up and wait runway 2 left, China Southern 6052. SpiceJet 68, wind 35. Air China 975 heavy, when able turn right and contact ground, please Wilco, Air China 975 heavy. Singapore 676, contact Singapore Center on 127.0.
Contacting Singapore Center on 127.0, Singapore 676.
Singapore Changi Tower, Singapore 206 India November Super. Inbound on the ILS runway 2 left.
Singapore Changi Tower, Philippines 627 is 9 nautical miles to the southwest at 2,600 feet, inbound for landing, requesting runway 2 center. China Southern 6052, wind 350 at 8, runway 2 left, cleared for immediate takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 2 left, China Southern 6052. Singapore 206 India November Super, wind 350 at 8, number 1, runway 2 left, cleared to land. Philippines 627, wind 350 at 8, number 2, runway 2 center, cleared to land.
Number 1, cleared to land, runway 2 left, Singapore 206 India November Super.
Stand by, Singapore 710 heavy.
Number 2, cleared to land, runway 2 center, Philippines 627.
Singapore Changi Tower, Express India 545 Super. Ready for departure at runway 2 left, remaining in the pattern. Singapore Changi Tower, Singapore 994, ready for departure at runway 2 left, departing west.
SpiceJet 68, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0.
Contacting Kuala Lumpur Center on 127.0, SpiceJet 68.
Express India 545 Super, hold short of runway 2 left. Singapore 994, hold short of
Holding short runway 2 left. Express India 545 Super. Holding short runway 2 left. Singapore 994.
Singapore Changi ground, Air China 975 Heavy, request taxi to D49 at the other terminals.
Singapore 350, turn right next taxiway.
Right on the next taxiway, speedbird 318 India Golf. Right on the next taxiway, Singapore 350.
Air China 975 Heavy.
Taxiing to D49 via Air China 975 Heavy.
Singapore 38 Mike Hotel, hold position.
Holding position, Singapore 38 Mike Hotel. Singapore Changi ground, Thai 8 Juliet Bravo, ready to taxi with information Mike.
Singapore Changi ground, 9 Golf Echo November Quebec, ready for pushback with information Mike.
Singapore Changi ground, Indonesia 55 Heavy, ready to taxi to runway 2 left with information Mike.
Speedbird 318 India Golf, follow aircraft ahead.
Wilco, speedbird 318 India Golf.
Singapore Changi ground, Indonesia 55 Heavy, ready to taxi to runway 2 left with information Mike.
Indonesia 55 Heavy, taxi to runway 2 left, contact tower when ready.
Singapore Changi ground, Singapore 421, request taxi to E2 at the other terminals.
Indonesia 55 Heavy, avoid sending duplicate messages.
Taxi to runway 2 left, Indonesia 55 Heavy.
9 Golf Echo November Quebec, hold position. Singapore 421, taxi to E2 via.
Taxiing to E2 via Singapore 421.
Singapore 350, follow aircraft ahead.
Wilco, Singapore 350.
Holding position, 9 Golf Echo November Quebec.
Singapore Changi ground, Swiss 017, ready to taxi with information Mike.
Indonesia 55 Heavy, continue straight ahead. Lufthansa 780 Heavy, hold position.
Continuing ahead, Indonesia 55 Heavy.
Holding position, Lufthansa 780 Heavy.
Echo Papa Golf Hotel Whiskey Super, turn left next taxiway.
Left on the next taxiway, Echo Papa Golf Hotel Whiskey Super. Singapore Changi ground, Singapore 2027, ready for pushback with information Mike, requesting runway 2 left.
Echo Papa Golf Hotel Whiskey Super, you're in active airport. Please contact Singapore Changi.
Singapore Changi ground, Air China 975 Heavy, request taxi to E20 at the other terminals.
Stillwater 6188, pushback approved, tail to the north. Singapore 2027, hold position.
Pushback approved, tail to the
Air China 975 Heavy, taxi to E20 via.
Singapore Changi ground, Thai 8 Juliet Bravo, ready to taxi with information Mike. Taxiing to E20 via Air China 975 Heavy.
Singapore 206 India November Super, taxi to parking, at your discretion.
Taxi to runway 2 left, Singapore 516.
Taxi to parking. Singapore.
Air China 975 Heavy.
Left on the next taxiway, Air China 975 Heavy.
Air China 975 Heavy, taxi to E20 via.
Taxiing to E20 via Air China 975 Heavy.
Indonesia 55 Heavy, turn left next taxiway. Indonesia 55 Heavy, disregard last message. Indonesia 55 Heavy, turn right next taxiway.
Right on the next taxiway, Indonesia 55 Heavy.
Gulf Air 234 Heavy, taxi to runway 2 left, contact tower when ready.
Taxi to runway 2 left, Gulf Air 234 Heavy.
Singapore Changi ground, Speedbird 12 Heavy, ready to taxi to runway 2 left with information Mike.
Swiss 017, taxi to parking, at your discretion.
Singapore Changi ground, Nippon Cargo 262, ready for pushback with information Mike.
Taxi to parking, Swiss 017.
Singapore 38 Mike Hotel, pushback approved, tail to the north. Speedbird 12 Heavy, taxi to runway 2 left, contact tower when ready.
Taxi to runway 2 left, Speedbird 12 Heavy.
Thai 8 Juliet Bravo, taxi to runway 2 left, contact tower when ready.
Taxi to runway 2 left, Thai 8 Juliet Bravo.
Nippon Cargo 262, pushback approved, tail to the north.
Pushback approved, tail to the north, Nippon Cargo 262.
Thai 8 Juliet Bravo, turn left next taxiway.
Left on the next taxiway, Thai 8 Juliet Bravo. Singapore 516, request frequency change. Singapore Changi Ground, Star Walker 6188, ready to taxi. Thank you, good day, Singapore 421.
Indonesia 55 Heavy, request frequency change.
Indonesia 55 Heavy, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Star Walker 6188, taxi to runway 2 left, contact tower when ready.
Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Indonesia 55 Heavy.
Star Walker 6188, turn left next taxiway.
Singapore Changi Ground, Air China 975 Heavy, request taxi to D42 at the other terminals.
Singapore 516, turn right next taxiway.
Right on the next taxiway, Singapore 516.
Air China 97.
Taxiing to D42 via Air China 975 Heavy.
Thai 8 Juliet Bravo, continue straight ahead.
Continuing ahead, Thai 8 Juliet Bravo.
Singapore 1995 Heavy, taxi to C22 via Victor.
Taxiing to C22 via Victor, Singapore 1995 Heavy.
Singapore Changi Ground, Tunisia 327 Heavy, request taxi to C22 at the other terminals.
Singapore Changi Ground, Qantas 6798 Super, ready for pushback with information mic, requesting runway 2 left.
Singapore Changi Ground, 9 Golf Echo November Quebec, ready for pushback with information mic.
Singapore Changi Ground, Delta Romeo Alpha Zulu Echo, request taxi to E28 at the other terminals.
Star Walker 6188, continue taxi at your discretion. 9 Golf Echo November Quebec, pushback approved, tail to the north. Delta Romeo Alpha Zulu Echo, taxi to E28 via.
Roger, Star Walker 6188.
Taxiing to E28 via Delta Romeo Alpha Zulu Echo.
Qantas 6798 Super, hold position. Tunisia 327 Heavy, taxi to C22 via.
Holding position, Qantas 6798 Super.
Taxiing to C22 via Tunisia 327 Heavy.
Thai 8 Juliet Bravo, turn left next taxiway.
Left on the next taxiway, Thai 8 Juliet Bravo.
Speedbit 12 Heavy, you're in an active airport. Please contact Singapore Changi Ground on 124.3.
Singapore Changi Ground, Peloton 007, ready for pushback with information mic.
Peloton 007, pushback approved, tail to the north. Singapore 2027, pushback approved, tail to the north.
Pushback approved, tail to the north, Peloton 007. Pushback approved, tail to the north, Singapore 2027.
Singapore Changi Ground, Nippon Cargo 262, ready to taxi with information mic.
Qantas 6798 Super, pushback approved, tail to the north.
Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 133 Heavy, ready for pushback with information mic.
Pushback approved, tail to the north, Qantas 6798 Super.
Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 37 Heavy, request taxi to B10 at the other terminals.
Singapore 133 Heavy, pushback approved, tail to the south.
Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 37 Heavy, request taxi to E28 at the other terminals.
Nippon Cargo 262, taxi to runway 2 left, contact tower when ready.
Taxi to runway 2 left, Nippon Cargo 262.
Singapore 37 Heavy, say intentions. Singapore 37 Heavy, taxi to parking, at your discretion.
Taxi to parking, Singapore 37 Heavy.
Pushback approved, tail to the south, Singapore 133 Heavy.
Singapore Changi Ground, Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee, request taxi to A4 at the other terminals.
Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee, taxi to A4 via Victor 10.
Taxiing to A4 via Victor 10, Charlie Romeo Alpha Zulu Yankee.
Thai 8 Juliet Bravo, turn right next taxiway.
Right on the next taxiway, Thai 8 Juliet Bravo.
Singapore 37 Heavy, turn left next taxiway.
Singapore Changi Ground, KLM 939, ready for pushback with information November. Left on the next taxiway, Singapore 37 Heavy.
Thai 8 Juliet Bravo, follow aircraft ahead.
Wilco, Thai 8 Juliet Bravo.
KLM 939, pushback approved, tail to the north.
Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 38 Mike Hotel Super, ready for pushback, requesting runway 2 left. Pushback approved, tail to the north, KLM 939.
Singapore 37 Heavy, say intentions. Singapore 38 Mike Hotel Super, pushback approved, tail to the north.
Singapore Changi Ground, Air China 8888, ready for pushback. Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 37 Heavy, request taxi to D47 at the other terminals. Pushback approved, tail to the north, Singapore 38 Mike Hotel Super.
Singapore 37 Heavy, taxi